rapper and convicted felon is getting ready to bond out of jail. Police arrested him during a traffic stop. And this is the mugshot for Torrance Hatch, also known as Lil Boosie. Channel 2 Steve Gelbach is live at the Coweta County Jail in Noonan. And Steve, this morning you talked exclusively to the sheriff.
Yeah, and Boosie, also now known as Boosie Badass, B-A-D-A-Z-Z, should be walking out of here after posting bond at any time here. Now, we did get the mugshot of Torrance Hatch Jr. The sheriff says he was driving when their deputy saw him swerving, almost sideswipe another car. He took a while to pull over, then the deputy smelled marijuana in that rented Dodge Charger. The passenger, Antonio Allen, not the former NFL player of the same name, claimed he was the bodyguard, said there was a gun in the car. And this is the photo of what the sheriff's office says was found in that car after a search: a stack of cash, 14 grams of marijuana, and a 9mm handgun. Both men were arrested on charges of possession of drugs and a firearm during a crime.
The passenger actually told him he had a weapon, and so they searched the vehicle, found a weapon, and then went from there. They found the marijuana.
Now that drugs and weapons charges bumped up because this was a convicted felon. Boosie, he was convicted back in 2011, pleading guilty on drug charges, served some time in prison. He was on probation up until last year, not anymore, and he's expected again to post bond of $3,500. Walk out of here sometime this afternoon. We're live in Coweta County. Steve Gelbach, Channel 2 Action News.
Oh boy. Today we're going to talk about Lil Boosie. I was waiting for the indictment to drop, but all the documents are pretty much sealed, right, on the Pacer. And, you know, people are thinking, he's all right, it's a 922G, felon in possession of a firearm, 0 to 10 years, he's probably good. With prior convictions, he could be facing a 924E, which makes his mandatory minimum 15 years. But I think that's not really the stuff that he has to worry about. I think he might be facing a conspiracy to commit murder, a murder for hire case. I think that's possible. And I'm going to tell you why. And just because he beat it in the state don't mean that the feds can't bring it. And we're going to tell you exactly why and how they do that. But right here, this is a motion to seal by the government. And let me read this to you, and then I'm going to explain it to you. The United States of America, by its counsel, moves to seal the 1, complaint, 2, the arrest warrant, and 3, this motion in the above captioned matter. These documents disclose an ongoing covert investigation. Disclosure in the public record at this time likely would cause the targets to flee, to avoid prosecution, destroy or discard evidence, and otherwise seriously jeopardize the investigation. Let me tell you this, they got the guns, right? So what other evidence is there to hide or to conceal? Think about that for a minute. Let's talk about this other part. How many other people are part of the investigation? They got the 922G. They got it. They got it in the bank. Yeah, his man's in the whip with him, whatever. You know, he's probably going to take the charge for Boosie. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That may happen. But that means that there's no one else to go look for. They're looking for other people. There's an ongoing investigation. For what? I'm going to tell you how in this story. Let's get to it. Baton Rouge rapper Lil Boosie, or Boosie Badass, as he's now known, is no stranger to being on the wrong side of the law. Moments after he got out of court for an ongoing trial for possession of illegal weapons, the rapper was arrested by federal agents for other charges. Now, following this slightly surreal turn of events, many want to know what Lil Boosie, whose name at birth was Torrance Ivy Hatch Jr., has been charged with, and why he went to jail again so soon after having other charges dismissed. As of now, he is charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm in violation of 18 U.S.C. 922G. But it's possible that he may be charged under the Armed Career Offender Act that comes with a mandatory 15-year term, under 18 U.S.C. 924E. With his prior convictions, there is likely no way for Boosie to come under that 15-year mandatory minimum. But that might be small compared to what he might have coming. The indictment in this case is sealed, and the government writes, disclosure in the public record at this time likely would cause the targets to flee to avoid prosecution, destroy or discard evidence, and otherwise seriously jeopardize the investigation. When dealing with the feds, this simply means other charges are coming. There is no evidence to destroy in the case or other defendants to arrest, if this is a possession of a firearm case. The gun case that Boosie was actually in court for comes from a traffic stop in May, in which it was discovered that Boosie had 2 firearms in his car. After being released on bail, he would make it to his concert to perform at a club in Southern California. There he would hype the crowd up, having them chant, "Fuck the San Diego police," while holding up their middle fingers. Boosie then adds, "Suck my dick, for extra emphasis. Boosie likely did himself no favors, and now the police, on the federal side, are saying fuck you back. During his traffic stop and arrest, Boosie spoke about how tired he was of being stopped by law enforcement for allegedly frivolous reasons. "I can't keep going through this though, bro," he said to the police in a video pushed out by TMZ. "I just can't, bro. I don't do no wrong. I gotta go to y'all superiors and file charges, man. It's harassment. It's every day. I moved the country to live, bro. I did 6 years on my back. I'm tired, bruh." After being arrested by the feds, Boosie, knowing that things just got really real, would go to Twitter and say, "I want to take this time to apologize to my kids. I'm sorry, and I love y'all forever," he wrote on Twitter. What exactly is he sorry for remains to be seen. This time, acquittals, bails, and what some would call short time are not short time at all. Little Boosie is no stranger to the criminal justice system. This is not the first time that Boosie has faced serious charges from law enforcement. In 2010, he was indicted for first-degree murder and was also sentenced to 10 years in prison for possession of drugs with intention to distribute. Boosie maintained his innocence in the case, which involved the murder of Terry Boyd, and he was ultimately found not guilty at trial. In spite of that verdict in the murder case, though, Boosie still served 5 years in prison for the drug charges and was released in 2014. He's had legal issues consistently in the years since, but thus far, the most serious charge he faced is undoubtedly first-degree murder. While the prosecutor Dana Cummings came up short, the facts painted a grisly picture that the feds many times can pull together for a new prosecution federally, and I'm telling you to expect it. According to opening statements by the prosecutor in that trial, Assistant District Attorney Dana Cummings would say the killings were a $2,800 murder for hire ordered by Boosie and executed by his henchman, 17-year-old Michael Marlowe Mike Louding. The defense alleged that the slaying was the work of a teen hitman with the mind of a maniac, a rude gunman haunted by a demonic choir of voices hollering, "Kill, kill, 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 kill." In an impassioned opening salvo, Jason Williams, one of Boosie's attorneys, steadfastly maintained his client's innocence, alleging that Louding acted only in concert with Michael Ghost Judson and Adrian Pittman. In the weeks before the slaying, Williams claimed Boyd robbed Judson for $720, while Pittman allegedly harbored a long-time grudge against Boyd. It was midnight on October 21st, 2009, when a 9mm handgun fired 6 bullets through the front window of a house on Vermillion Drive. By the time the police arrived at the residence in East Baton Rouge, 35-year-old Terry Boyd was dead, his body standing in a brown leather couch the color of crimson. A neighbor would spot 2 men sprinting towards the train tracks near the residence of Ben Hawkins, where Boyd had been staying ever since he completed a 5-year stint at the Winfield Correctional Facility just 1 month prior. Boyd left behind a disposable camera, $402 in cash, and a bloodstream spiked with morphine, marijuana, and codeine. With no DNA evidence or eyewitnesses to the shooting, the prosecution hinged its case around the taped jailhouse confession from Louding and telephone records that trace him to Boosie's recording studio during the hours before and after the murder. Also presented as evidence, a tattoo that Louding allegedly received 2 weeks after the murder, a depiction of an AK-47 accompanied by the phrase, "Yo Boosie, who's next?" and the lyrics to Boosie's song 187 in Body Bag, which Cummings says were recorded on the night of the murder. Just because he beat the murder charge in the state does not mean that the feds will not incorporate that into a conspiracy and charge him federally. But how? What about double jeopardy? They had no DNA evidence, Chad. No eyewitness to the shooting. So how can they charge him federally? Perhaps the feds now have eyewitnesses or cooperating informants. Or perhaps they think they can win a case federally on the evidence that they already have. And as for double jeopardy, the feds charge you under different statutes. And that is how they get around the double jeopardy issue. Murder for hire is a separate crime in the feds. So is conspiracy to commit murder. That is also a separate crime. And that's how the feds get you. And that's how they got many. So stay tuned. Let me explain this double jeopardy thing to you, right? So you can understand this a little bit. Let's say in New York, you get caught with a gun, you're charged with criminal possession of a weapon in the 3rd degree. You go to the state, you blow trial, you end up with a 2 to 6, whatever they give you. You get done doing your time, you get ready to walk out. Now the feds charge you, right? And they take you over to the federal building for the same exact gun. And now they charge you with 18 U.S.C. 922G, felon in possession of a firearm. It's not double jeopardy. They're allowed to do that stuff. Why? Because in the state you were charged with criminal possession of a weapon in the 3rd degree. Now over here in the feds, you're charged with a separate crime, which is a felon in possession of a firearm. And that's how they do that stuff over there, like whatever his charges were on that murder case. Well, now they can come over here and say conspiracy to commit murder. What evidence do they got? I think they probably got some other stuff that they're digging into. And it probably stems from, when he gets pulled over and you start yelling, man, up the feds, and you're singing that song, and, up narcotics and all. Listen, man, these people are human beings, right? Sometimes people take things personal. And when they take things personal, it can go really bad. And for him, I think it's going to go really, really bad. It remains to be seen what exactly is going to happen. But the government wouldn't be sealing, the arrest warrant, the complaint, or any of that stuff unless they had some other stuff going on. Because, for real, as far as the 922G goes, they probably got everything that they need. They got the pullover, they got the arrest, they got the guns, they got him and his man. You might think, oh, well, his man's going to take it, he's going to pay him, he's good, he's going to go to trial, he's going to be like, yo, those weren't mine, and then his man's going to get on the stand and be like, yo, that was all me. Man, listen, these people know how the games are played. They just play them back. So now when you're over there like, man, F the feds and all of that, guess what? Now they're like, fuck you, Boosie. We'll see what happens, man. And then once he gets to prison, if you guys want a little video on what happens when he gets to prison, we can do that too. The real question is, how much time is he going to end up with? Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, with respect, we're out.